If you follow any news regarding crypto or Bitcoin, you've likely heard that Sam Bankman-Fried, the owner and founder of FTX, was sentenced to over 100 years in prison for fraud, embezzling customer funds, and really just running a Ponzi scheme. We haven't had news like this since the early 2000s when Bernie Madoff was actually accused of similar things, fraud and Ponzi schemes and so forth, and he was sentenced to 150 years in prison. So this is really, really big news. I was thinking this is going to shake the cryptocurrency markets, Bitcoin's going to tank and so forth. But in fact, what it did is it kind of didn't even cause any issues at all. Bitcoin price actually stayed relatively stable, increased and so forth. So that is actually very good news for crypto investors and the crypto market. It means that these big, cryptocurrency exchanges and funds and so forth don't have a huge ripple effect like they did in the past. For example, if you've been involved in cryptocurrency for a long time, in 2014, there was a big exchange called Mt. Gox, MTGOX. It was based in Japan. When they were around, they were pretty much the game in cryptocurrency. If you wanted to buy crypto, if you wanted to trade crypto or, specifically BTC and so forth, this is where you went to do it. It was based in Japan. It was fairly reliable. The owners were quite public and so forth. So a lot of people relied on them to make their crypto investments. Now, in 2014, that exchange went bankrupt. And very similarly to what you're seeing now with FTX, the owners were defrauding customers, were using money for their own personal purposes. Money just pretty much disappeared. Crypto assets just disappeared. And when Mt. Gox went bankrupt, what happened is that the cryptocurrency markets and Bitcoin in specific actually tanked. They really went down to nothing. Confidence went down to pretty much zero after that. Nobody wanted to do anything with crypto. Everybody was calling it a Ponzi scheme. I know a lot of people still call it that, but it was really just the consumer sentiment and the market sentiment was just very, very negative at that time. And it actually took a couple of years for crypto to come back into the scene and actually start becoming popular again amongst investors and so forth. So it really caused a huge dent in the growth of crypto. Whereas the situation with Sam Bankman-Fried and FTX and so forth, obviously devastating for a lot of investors and a huge problem. But, we've seen that the markets are pretty resilient. They're not wreaking havoc on the pricing of Bitcoin. People are still trading. People are still buying different cryptocurrencies. So that is a very good thing. It means that crypto is starting to become more legitimate as a value asset class and that people are trusting that this is, something that's going to be around for a long time versus in 2014, where as soon as we heard about Mt. Gox and people started realizing what was going on, everybody was exiting and the price tanked and the market actually took a couple of years to actually recover, which is crazy, right? If you lose money in something and the asset goes down, usually a couple of years later, it doesn't just start creeping back up. But that is, obviously the beauty of crypto and Bitcoin in specific. It's a resilient asset class and people do believe in it. As I was saying, this is really good news for crypto. It means that it's here to stay and that people are trusting it. Now, the number one thing you have to do if you own any crypto or if you're looking to invest is you have to obviously trust, the entity that you're working with to buy the crypto. And you have to look at different ways to store your crypto. Just like banks can be uncertain, cryptocurrency exchanges could also be uncertain. Obviously, as you've seen now with quite a few of them that now have made the news and have gone bankrupt and so forth. Now, I hear this a lot, crypto is a scam and I'm going to lose my money and so forth. And as I, tell a lot of people that ask me about crypto, because I've been in this space for a long time, you have to diversify and you can't just buy crypto as an investment. You need to buy different investments and crypto could be a part of your investment strategy. Banks are not any more certain than crypto. Let me give you an example. There is a list on the FDIC website which talks about which banks have gone bankrupt and are in financial distress. Now, just recently, there's a branch of Citizen Bank in Iowa that went bankrupt. There is no reason for the bankruptcy or the closure. There's no information for any of the depositors or customers of that bank. It's just closed. It's been taken over by a state institution, and that's it. We barely even heard about this in the news. This is pretty big. A state bank is shut down. It should be talked about. Earlier in the year, we heard Silicon Valley Bank, Signature Bank, those went down. We heard about it for a day or two. There was a little bit of, some shakeups in the market, but then we just went on and continued. So just as you have, confidence in banks because the FDIC is around, you could have confidence in your crypto assets if you learn how to store them properly, if you learn how to manage them properly, and you use them as part of your investment strategy. So keep in mind, this case, an FTX happening, is actually a very good thing. It means that there's more laws to protect people, that scammers can't, in fact, run away with money and not have any consequences. I'm not saying it's never going to happen again. Obviously, it's going to happen over and over again, as we've seen in the banking world, as we've seen in the crypto world. But the one thing you have to keep in mind is having a very diverse strategy in your investing can protect you from these things, and also learning about cold storage and different ways that you can save your crypto and get it out of exchanges is going to be a very beneficial thing for you. And as I said, if we go back to the history of crypto, and since it began in 2008, there's been quite a few different disruptions, quite a few bankruptcies and big scandals. But in the last year or so, BTC and crypto have pretty much weathered the storm. I mean, it hasn't caused a huge impact where, crypto went down to zero, BTC went down to zero. If you look at the price indexes in 2014 after Mt. Gox, Bitcoin in specific almost went down to nothing in comparison to its high. So I'm feeling confident that crypto is here to stay. And I am actually happy about this news that, people who are frauding the system and are stealing from people are actually getting consequences to their actions. Keep up to date with the news, look at all the crypto market stuff, and also look at the banking stuff and try to diversify. So I thought this was a pretty interesting connection. There was a bank that went down in Iowa. We barely heard about it. It's just published on a website. We don't even know why it went bankrupt, right? So it just went bankrupt and it's no longer there. But then when something in the crypto world happens, we hear this huge bang and, crypto is a Ponzi scheme and so on and so forth. So bear that in mind and make sure that you have a diversified strategy and follow along for more great content. If you have any opinions or any thoughts about what happened to Sam Bankman-Fried, I'd love to hear about it.